Good evening, everyone. Please rise to the flag salute. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Give me 1 second, please. Thank you very much. To my screen here. Let's see here. Madam Secretary, can you please read the Open Public Records Act into the record, please? I'm having a technical difficulty with the board docs.
In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Public Board of Education has called notice of this meeting published in the North Jersey Herald News, the Board official newspaper on January 14, 2026. The notices of this meeting indicate date, time, and place were posted publicly on the doors of the main district and filed with the clerk and the municipality of that.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Here, yes.
Yes. Mr. Martinez. Mr. Michael.
Here.
Mr. Webb.
Here.
Mr. Gonzalez.
Here.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Officer Guzman, I'd like to start our Teacher of the Year and Governor's Educational Service Provider of the Year presentation, if that's okay with you.
Very good, Mr. Waka. The floor is yours.
Excellent. So it's awesome seeing this many people at a Board of Education meeting and in person. Each year, our faculty and our administration work together to select a Governor's Teacher of the Year and an Educational Service Provider of the Year. And in order to get nominated, you get nominated by either a student or a fellow faculty member or a parent that works here at HPS. And this year we had a multitude of really strong candidates for both categories. So the selection committee, we met, we spent a couple hours, we reviewed the applications that were submitted on behalf of the staff members, as well as other testimonials given about the staff members. And we were really proud to announce this year's winners. I know that everyone thinks that their own kid is the most beautiful kid in the world, but I think Mr. Pusilowski's daughter really is the most photogenic and beautiful looking child. But our Teacher of the Year this year was Mr. David Pusilowski. We wish to congratulate Mr. Pusilowski as he is this year's Teacher of the Year. Mr. Pusilowski has been with us for over 12 years. HPS has done a remarkable job as both a physical education teacher, a health teacher, and an athletic coach. There are also rumors that Mr. Pusilowski may be good friends with our very own Wildcat mascot. Mr. Pusilowski's dedication to our school and our students is highly tangible, and we are extremely fortunate to have him on our team at HPS. So, Mr. Pusilowski, I'd like you to come up and say a few words and accept our token.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Floor is yours.
Stand right here.
Wherever your show.
Ms. Danielle, 3 pages. You got a lot to live up to. Mr. Waka, members of the Board of Education, Mr. Torito, Mr. Quelly, Mrs. Barnhill, HPS, teachers and staff, friends and family, thank you for this amazing honor. I know there have been many amazing teachers that have not been able to win this award, and it's quite humbling to stand up here knowing that. Having said that, as someone who has grown up in sports world, I know that every success is due to many people behind the scenes, and I would like to share the spotlight with all the people who have helped me along the way. First and foremost, I'd like to thank my family, and especially my parents, Phil and Joanne. My mom's here. My mom. They have provided my sister and I with an amazing example of hard work and of helping others throughout our lives. I know when I left my previous career in sports medicine to become a teacher, they had their doubts. I'm sure they did. However, they never expressed them, and they supported my decision 110%. And I can't thank them enough for their support and guidance through all the years. Thank you, Mom and Dad. I'd like to thank my colleagues for nominating and selecting me for this prestigious award. As I stated previously, there are so many amazing educators that have and are currently working here at HPS. Even through these past couple of COVID years, I have seen so many colleagues go above and beyond to support and bring some normalcy to our students during these difficult times. I hope we continue to put our students first and foremost. Your dedication to our students and your craft have not gone unnoticed by this educator. I'd like to single out a couple of my colleagues. Shout out to Mr. Cusack, Mr. Torito, Mr. Bond. Not only have you been amazing coworkers, but also friends and people I can lean on for more than just work guidance. You have been true friends, and I appreciate your friendship and advice through the years. I also have to make a special mention to Ms. Troviana, who's here as well. As you know, Ms. T won this award last year. That's right, 2 PE teachers in a row. We're not so bad. Ms. T has been much more than a mentor. She has been the example that all teachers should follow. She has given me so much great advice. She really could write a book. Ms. T, I believe you are the first back-to-back Teacher of the Year award winner, because without your guidance, mentorship, and friendship, I would not be standing up here tonight. So thank you, Ms. T, for everything. Almost done, Ms. Sandy. I'd also like to thank our support staff here at school. Without our classroom aides like Ms. Danielle, Ms. Tina, we would not be able to do our jobs to the fullest. I'd also like to thank Ms. Jenny and Ms. Alley for their amazing dedication to our school and staff. They are awesome. To my students, it was a nice surprise to see a few here tonight. Past and present, you are truly an inspiration to me. When I'm tired or stressed out, seeing the excitement in your faces when you come to my PE class instantly turns my day around. Thank you. I always tell people I have the best job in the building, and it's because of you, my students. I take great pride when my former soccer players come back to practice or a game to hang out and catch up with me. I love hearing from each and every one of you, just maybe not during the second half of a close game. We can wait till the end. Thank you for all the memories and laughter throughout the year. Going through my list. Oh, my wife. Lastly, I'd like to thank my wife, Mrs. P. As many of you know, she is a past winner of this award as well. The best thing about winning this award is not having to hear her rub in my face that she is the Teacher of the Year. That's been getting old. In all seriousness, Amanda, you have been an inspiration to me. The dedication you put into your students and coworkers is awe-inspiring. She has caused me to step up my game as an educator and as a union member. Watching her juggle her teaching duties, literacy coaching duties, and union duties is pretty amazing. On top of that, I've witnessed her grow into an incredible mother to our daughter, Adriana. I love both of you, and thank you for your love, support, and inspiration throughout all these years. You truly are the best. Thank you all for sharing in this honor with me. Without each and every one of you, I would not be standing up here tonight. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Now, speaking on the theme of producing wonderful children, our Educational Service Provider of the Year, Danielle Katkowski, also has done that. She's produced 2 of the best students that we have at the Haledon Public School. Ms. Bukowski is one of our classroom aides, but I think just as importantly, she's very much part of the fabric of what this town, what our school is. I know when parents see that Danielle is going to be working with their child, it gives them a sense of reassurance and a sense of peace of mind, because they know that their child is going to be with someone that loves them and cares about them and wants the best for them. Danielle is thought of incredibly highly by all aspects of our staff. As Dave mentioned, secretaries, administration, fellow teachers. We all look up to her. We know how fortunate we are to have someone of her skill and her help working with us on our team. So I want to congratulate Ms. Danielle Bukowski as our Educational Service Provider of the Year.
Thank you. Hello. I might get emotional, so I'm apologizing now. Dear Mr. Walker, members of the Board of Education, Ms. Martinez, Mr. Quelly, Mrs. Barnhill, Mr. Torito, HPS staff, and friends. I am so honored to have received the Educational Service Provider Award this year. I am humbled that some of my colleagues felt I deserved this nomination, and I am so pleased to join past recipients who I have long admired and respected. Many of you already know that I once walked the halls of Haledon Public School as a student myself. It was here that I first experienced loving teachers and lasting friendships. So working here has always felt like home. In my 20 years of being an instructional aide, my heart has been filled once again with loving teachers and lasting friendships. But it has gained even more because now I have students of my own. They inspire me to give the most of myself. I learned to be more compassionate, more encouraging, and more supportive with each passing day. And my goal is to guide them in a positive direction and give them a memorable HPS experience too. Along the way, I have worked with many colleagues that have contributed to my success, but there are two that I have to mention tonight. Diane Cartana and Kina Quinones. For the past 20 years, we have been a teaching trio. I have learned so much from them, and they continue to inspire me to be the best I can be. We support each other through good times and bad. We laugh, we cry, and most importantly, we work together to create the best possible school environment for our students. I love you both very much. Lastly, I would like to thank my children, Mikey and Rennie, for being the brightest lights in my world, and my parents and my family for all of their unconditional love and support through the years. Thank you.
We have so many faculty and students and parents here for these two staff. I'd like to take a couple minutes. They can take any pictures that they want with their family or staff, and then we'll resume with Ms. Cosgrove's presentation about this new SEL program that we're very excited about.
All right, very well. We'll have a 5 to 10 minute recess. Thank you.
Move on, and we're going to restart our board meeting. Ms. Cosgrove is going to give us a presentation along with some students about our brand new SEL social emotional learning position.
Awesome.
Cosgrove, the floor is yours.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. My name is Lauren Cosgrove, and I'm here to discuss the new position I've been appointed Social Emotional Learning Counselor, or SEL Counselor. Okay, so I'm going to do this with the slideshow. Okay, so what is SEL? Social Emotional Learning focuses on mindset, skills, attitudes, feelings that achieve student success, as well as motivation, social connectedness, and self-control. So there are 5 SEL competencies: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, responsible decision-making, and relationship skills. I try to focus all my student services, direct and indirect, in those areas. So recently, we've seen the negative effects that the pandemic has had on our students, and because of this, the development of this position became necessary. We've seen students present high anxiety, greater academic needs, social isolation. And over the past 3 months that I've been in this position, I've seen the pressure that teachers are under trying to do their best to meet those social emotional needs of their students while teaching what they need to academically. So my role consists of group and individual counseling sessions, team building activities, social skills lessons for grades pre-K through first, and other psychoeducational lessons. I provide resources for parents and staff, working with parents directly on helping them implement healthy routines at home and providing healthy parenting strategies. So what's to come? Nurse Carr and I are working on a peer mentorship program. This program focuses on strengthening the skills such as organization, social skills for the elementary students, as well as benefiting the middle school students, the mentors, through leadership skills and giving them an increased sense of self-worth. And some additional goals I have would be continuing to build on my current commitments, and also increase healthy social behaviors for our students and assisting them in managing their stress in healthy ways. So one of the first projects that I worked on was with the 3rd grade team and their classes. We created social emotional learning focused published books. Each class picked their own topic, and we are lucky enough to have some 3rd graders here with us to share their work. Their teachers and I are very, very proud of them. And so without further ado, we have Kitan. And Kitan's class did gratefulness with Miss Gilmartin's class. Sorry. So
people take gratitude for granted, but they shouldn't. There are so many things that gratitude brings to the table. You should have gratitude for your family, your job, and for the people who love you. Gratitude is important to me because there wouldn't be any kind or thankful people in the world anymore. Some people don't have anything. That might mean a lot for them. It would break their hearts. That's what I think gratitude means. You should have gratitude anywhere.
Great job.
And then next we have Isabella from Mrs. Unlasoy's class. And they worked on Unplugged with Mrs. Unlasoy's class. So we thought of ways to unplug from all of our electronics.
Unplugging is important because you can relax and take a moment to take care of yourself. You can also reset by going outside or doing something different that's not on the device. I get the internet is addicting, but you still have to make time for yourself. My favorite way to unplug is to read a book.
Unfortunately, Logan couldn't be here last minute tonight, but Mrs. Gerardo's class worked on making friends with Mrs. Gerardo's class. And then we have Remy here with mindfulness with Miss Marzella's class.
can be strong by picturing myself feeling confident and saying things like, I got this. When I say this, I visualize myself at gymnastics because I don't perform every move correctly the first time. When this happens, I'm not feeling strong. So when I take a deep breath, this makes me feel much better in both my body, my mind and body.
Thank you.
And last but not least, Ariana with Mrs. Sanchez class, simple acts of kindness with Mrs. Sanchez.
When I give simple acts of kindness, I feel happy that I accomplished making someone's day. Ways you can make people happy is give a compliment, share, play with them, and most importantly, be kind. My dad and I do affirmations every day. I try to do that every morning to start the day off on a good note. You should too.
To the guests here, first of all, to the students, excellent job. I speak a lot publicly, and when I was in third grade, I was just too afraid. I promise you, I was just too afraid to do what you guys did tonight here. So I'm very proud of you and your teachers. And Mr. Cosgrove, thank you for your attitude towards this new position. We all feel it, and we know it's going to benefit our every aspect of our operations. Thank you. People in the audience, you're more than welcome to stay for a board meeting. I love them. But if you have to go, if your kid, you have to do your homework, we certainly understand that.
We're going to take some pictures outside.
Perfect.
Right. Oh, do you want to? Yeah. I can do that. You guys have fun.
That was my coach teacher.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Carla's teacher. I went on a field trip with him. I was class parent.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, she's about to graduate high school.
Unified Angels.
we're good, George, if you're ready to go.
Yeah, no, you're not like.
All righty. Very good. Okay. Do we have a motion to accept correspondence?
So move. Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbasi?
Mr. Abbasi, you're on mute.
Sorry.
I just want to congratulate Mrs. Schaefer on her retirement and thank her for all of her many years of dedicated service to our students and our community. And I want to wish Ms. Diaz-Venegas and Ms. Martinez the best in their next chapter. I know Ms. Diaz was involved in a lot of activities, so we're really sorry to see her go, but we wish her the best. I did have one question about the certificate, the limited certificate of eligibility and certificate of eligibility with advanced standing. So I was just wondering, when is it expected that they would earn their regular required?
Great question. So the reason that we decided to enroll in this is because we thought there was absolutely no downside to doing so. In that we're not necessarily looking for people that have less qualifications than anyone else. But if there are positions that are hard to fill, like I know that finding a library media specialist might be very, very difficult for us. We're currently looking for a middle school science. It's another certification that's a lot less harder to find than others, right? So I want us to have this option in our back pocket in case we need to utilize it. Now, the program is a 5-year program, so within 5 years, they have to get whatever it is that they lacked in the program. But this is just being on there is more of a fail-safe for us than something that we're actively looking to work with.
Understood, thank you. Yes, I voted yes.
Mr. Jacques,
Yes.
Mr. Matzo,
Yes.
Mr. Webb,
Yes.
Mr. Zalatonovich,
Yes.
Mr. Guzman,
Yes.
Mr. Abbas.
Yes.
Do we have a motion to approve prior minutes?
So move. Second.
And roll call.
Mr. Abbas,
Omar, did you say yes?
Yes. Yes. Did you hear me?
Now we do.
Mrs. Issa,
There's one correction that needs to be made on 4.1, appoint board member to open seat. It has my name as blank. I had voted yes. I think it was just a mistake. It was just accidentally put by Ms. Diaz's. She wasn't there for that meeting, so I think it was just put there by mistake.
okay, thank you.
Other than that, yes.
Mr. Jacques,
I'm abstaining due to accident.
Mr. Matzo,
Yes.
Mr. Webb,
Yes.
Mr. Zalatonovich,
Yes.
Mr. Guzman.
Yes. Do we have a motion to open up the public portion to hear citizens on agenda items only?
So move. Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbas,
Yes.
Mrs. Issa,
Yes.
Mr. Jacques,
Yes.
Mr. Matzo,
Yes.
Mr. Webb,
Yes.
Mr. Zalatonovich,
Yes.
Mr. Guzman.
Yes. Okay, at this time, the floor is open to anyone who wishes to address the Board of Education on any items listed on our agenda tonight.
There's no one in the audience here that wishes to address us.
All right, received. Seeing no one, do we have a motion to close?
So move. Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbas,
Yes.
Mrs. Issa,
Yes.
Mr. Jacques,
Yes.
Mr. Matzo,
Yes.
Mr. Webb,
Yes.
Mr. Zalatonovich,
Yes.
Mr. Guzman.
Yes. Moving on to reports. I want to congratulate our educators who are honored tonight. Well deserved. Also want to thank Mrs. Cosgrove for her presentation tonight. I really feel that this position is going to have a positive impact on our children. I want to also thank Ms. Schaefer for all her years of dedicated service to our school district. We congratulate her on her retirement. And yes, we wish Ms. Diaz and Ms. Martinez well in their future endeavors. With that being said, I'm going to turn it over to our Chief School Administrator, Mr. Chris Walker.
Thank you, Board President Guzman. I echo all your comments about Teacher of the Year, Ms. Cosgrove, and those kids. It is a breath of fresh air when you get the lifeblood of kids at a board meeting, like everyone's a little more energetic, so I love seeing that. Tonight we had our policy committee. Strauss Esme is a company that serves us and almost every other district in New Jersey, and they did a big policy dump a couple weeks ago, so we kind of reviewed all the policies. So policy 1684.15 is an update of the previous 1684.14, and that's concerned the COVID-19 record keeping and who has to get these things reported to as far as the state, the school, and the community. Policy 2415 that outlines the district's effort to keep parents involved in the Title I process. As you are likely know, we are a school-wide Title I program, which means every aspect of our Title I, Title II, Title III, Title IV, Title V, any other title money we get, it's applicable to all of our students, and how it just outlines how we're going to advertise that and make the community aware. Let's see. Policy 30 4161 and 4161 that address the fact that districts will now need to provide a written statement to an employee if we feel that an employee may have a medical or a psychological need that needs to get evaluated. That's something we would do anyway. Policy 5512 discusses some revisions to the HIV protocols. You may see more HIV information from me moving forward in executive session, because before, if something that we knew was clearly not HIV, and where there's going to be two kids fighting over a pencil and one kid said, I'm getting bullied. Now, anytime that we even start any aspect of the process, I have to let the board know. So, you know, it's something that I'm happy to do, but that's something now by law. And they also updated the statute so that, not that we would ever do this here, but there's probably a district somewhere in New Jersey that had a principal or a supervisor get accused of HIV, and they had a staff member who that person evaluated lead the investigation. That's obviously a conflict of interest and puts the staff member at district in a bad spot. So that's something we obviously would not look to do here. And if I could be accused of HIV, I've never been accused, but I could be accused, and I'm going to reach out to Jeff Merlino and say if it was me that was accused, who would we want to have do that investigation? It might just be Jeff Merlino or maybe it's Lamika, I'm not exactly sure, but we'll look to get some clarification on that. Policy 7410 talked about, you know, how the laws of how if something's broken, it has to go first. If we want to get it fixed, it has to go to the head of grounds, Bill, and then Lamika is our BA and supervisor of head of grounds. She has to approve it. And then policy 8420 talks about how when we do emergency drills, yes, we have to let everyone in the community know afterwards. We've always done that. We're just going to be extra careful to make sure we're sensitive that the drills aren't overly scary or have fake blood or fake guns. We've never had a problem with that, but this policy just makes sure that we have to make sure that we're mindful of what grade the kids are and how we administer those drills. My next item is that at our next board meeting, we're going to be joined by our friend Kathleen Hellowa, and we're going to look to do our third part of our strategic planning to that board meeting on May 25th. That might be a little longer than most board meetings, but the goal is going to be to come out with you know, an umbrella of 3 or 4 goals with, you know, sub umbrellas underneath them. What we want to do starting in September of 22 all the way through September of 2027. You know, the major goals. So I'll send that information to the board of kind of where we're at and what ideas we've had and some data to support that. But we'll look to kind of come to a consensus on the set of goals to move forward. Let's see. So I do want to make this board aware that we were approached by the borough of Haledon. They're doing a movie under the Stars Night over at the field, at Rose Street Field. We were happy to use $495 from our student activity accounts. So many of our students are going to enjoy this, to be sponsors of this program. And that's something that we're always happy to partner with. And we're also going to be partnering at no cost for us, but we're going to be partnering with the Haledon Police Department and help them promoting their junior police academy, which they predominantly run in Manchester, but our middle school students are allowed to participate and have participated. And if the Haledon Police ever needed use of our facilities for any part of that program for the kids, all they'd have to do is ask, and we look to, you know, make a logical decision. And then lastly, the last board meeting, I was asked about our partnership with Certified Angels. We're certainly very happy they're here, and we believe they feel the same way, and they wish to continue their partnership with Haledon Public. Mr. Trito will fill in Ms. Augustine and myself later this week with any adjustment to the program that were proposed by the Angels to HPS. And then our team will carefully look to review these proposals and make appropriate decisions based on the needs of their program and the needs of our school district operations. That's my report tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Moving on to our business administrator, our board secretary, Mrs. Lamika Augustine.
Thank you. The only thing is just a reminder about the fall conference, and also to just note just 2 items that are on the agenda. One has to do with the ARP homeless grant that we are going to be approving tonight. Again, that's additional funds from the state that are given to us specifically for homeless students. And the other is our safety grant that we get annually through our New Jersey School Boards Insurance, that we submit what we will be using funds, or what we have used funds for in the past, which was mainly for 2-way radios and network security
expenditures that we use. And that's all tonight.
Mr. Guzman, can I ask? The ARP homeless application. So I noticed that it's, you know, it's blank, everything is 0. Is that because it hasn't been completed yet, or we have to approve the actual application, or is that because there are no students that are deemed homeless in this time period?
There are some students that could use the funds. We have some time to use the funds. The application was completed and submitted, and we're waiting approval from the state.
Okay. Oh, so I guess we're just approving the application then. That
We're approving the application, and once it's approved, we're approving acceptance of the funds, and they'll be out.
And then you put the money in
Yes.
where, okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. Personnel and management, Mr. Webb.
All right, I'd like to move, actually, I'm sorry, just agenda items today.
Okay. Curriculum and technology, Mrs. Isa.
Agenda items only today.
Policy, Mrs. Isa.
Well, Mr. Waka explains we had a meeting before this meeting. He summarized the new policy updates. So agenda items.
Security and safety, Mr. Slantanovic.
I met with Principal Waka. We went over the school bus emergency evacuation drill, which is the only thing on the agenda. He and I also discussed a proposal related to traffic. He can, you know, when there's more details, he'll cover that. We also discussed the HIB proposed policy, and I also met with Carlos and the principal, and we discussed a grant that the board president you had forwarded from Congressman Pascrell's office related to federal grant funding for security. So we did go into a discussion about that, and I have nothing further to report. Agenda item only.
Very good. Community engagement, Mr. Webb.
Nothing to report.
Finance and physical plan, Mr. Moxo.
Yes, we met, discussed bills, signed bills, also discussed a minor discrepancy in the budget that we discussed already, right? The audit. And we discussed that, and we're on page with that. And other than that, agenda items.
Okay. Staying County, Mrs. Isa.
Yeah, so the last county meeting of the school year took place on Monday, last Monday. Just a few updates. So regarding the budget, there's $400 million for extraordinary special aid that's being included in the budget. Stabilization is a line item to help districts that are losing state aid. The state is continuing to fund school-based youth programs at about $26 million. A $2 million grant to assess learning loss due to COVID. And I was a little unclear whether that was district or total. I'm guessing that's district per district. More money is being allocated for the regionalization studies for districts or areas that are interested in consolidating. And then more funding for social emotional learning programs have been included from the ARP funding. Then some legislative updates. These are some bills that are in the works. There's a bill for a school funding formula task force. There's a bill to expand remote instruction to allow more flexibility in the next school year regarding remote instruction. A bill to not allow schools to begin before 8:30. So don't worry, that bill has not moved yet. New Jersey School Board Association's position on that is that it should be left at the district level because there are a lot of, individual district needs, like, you know, parents who have to be at work before 8 o'clock, and so that they're pushing for that, but that bill hasn't moved. The health and sex education issue that has raised a lot of concern. There is a bill that will be introduced, hasn't been introduced yet, to enhance transparency on that curriculum. And then there was a presentation on a non-college bound learners and how comprehensive high schools can prepare students to enter the workforce. And really what that was how traditional high schools can incorporate kind of vocational or technical programs into their programming. And the superintendent of Leonia did this presentation. He co-presented, and he was talking about his experience. It's interesting. It's very relevant for Manchester because, you know, we all know that Manchester competes with PCTI. So it was an interesting presentation. And then lastly, Kathy Hello was there, and she just reminded everyone that we're in superintendent evaluation season. So to look out for that, that email, and, you know, once we get it, to please fill out the evaluation. And she reminded everyone that that is the second most important duty of a school board after choosing a superintendent. So that's it.
I still have work to do on my end for that, so I'm gonna make sure I get that done pronto so that we can evaluate.
Okay. And I believe that the deadline is usually like the end of June, around there, like June 30th or something.
Yeah, July 1st.
Yeah, so we'll have time.
Okay, very good. All good stuff. Moving on the agenda, personnel and management.
I would like, actually, first, I would, again, congratulate Ms. Grassi for her retirement and move agenda items 7.1 through 7.7.
So move.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Bassi,
Yes.
Mrs. Issa,
Yes.
Mrs. Zarko,
Yes.
Mr. Matzo,
Yes.
Mr. Webb,
Yes.
Mr. Zontovic,
Yes.
Mr. Guzman.
Yes. Let's see here, curriculum and technology.
Move agenda items 8.1 through 8.6.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Bassi,
I abstain from 8.2. Yes to the rest.
Mrs. Issa,
Yes.
Mr. Zarko,
Yes.
Mr. Matzo,
Yes.
Mr. Webb,
Yes.
Mr. Zontovic,
Yes.
Mr. Guzman.
Abstaining on 8.1, my vote is yes. Moving on to policy.
Move agenda item 9.1.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Bassi,
Yes.
Mrs. Issa,
Yes.
Mr. Zarko,
Yes.
Mr. Matzo,
Yes.
Mr. Webb,
Yes.
Mr. Zontovic,
Yes.
Mr. Guzman.
Yes. Security and safety.
I move agenda item 10.1.
So move.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Bassi,
Yes.
Mrs. Issa,
Yes.
Mr. Zarko,
Yes.
Mr. Matzo,
Yes.
Mr. Webb,
Yes.
Mr. Zontovic,
Yes.
Mr. Guzman.
Yes. Finance and physical plant.
Like to move item 12.1 through 12.10.
Second.
Before we vote, 12.9, are we replacing furniture like throughout the school, or?
So 12.9, this was something where we're looking to kind of use some of this surplus to buy things that are going to give us value for a long time. So that was one of the things we're looking to do, but this is just part of a kind of a bigger thing we're looking to kind of do a lot of cool things inside a lot of different classrooms, areas of our building to kind of modernize it, because we might not always get the kind of surplus that we've gotten the last 4 or 5 years. So the idea was now's the time to buy things that are giving us value for quite a while. You agree with that?
Yes.
Understood. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbasi?
Yes.
Mrs. Zissa?
Yes.
Mr. Jaquez?
Yes.
Mr. Matzo?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Antonovic?
Yes.
Mr. Guzman?
Yes. Any new or old business? Do we have a motion to open up the public portion?
One thing I want to bring up, George, just I've been approached by a couple different people, still on the council and on the board at the school, that the new normal moving forward with our calendar, we're going to look to, to the maximum extent possible, kind of honor certain more holidays that we honor now, specifically Eid and some other holidays where we're seeing that when we don't do them, a large percentage of our student body is going to be home anyway. We know that certain holidays and certain religions may not always be the same date each year, so it may change year to year. But we're going to look to kind of to make that a priority moving forward on years that it's applicable. And we also know that there may very well be the opportunity schools have to eliminate snow days. We haven't made a decision on what we're going to do with that, but it looks more and more likely that we'd be able to, if we wanted to, on certain days, whether it's implement, then institute remote instruction. So if we knew the day before that the weather is going to be iffy, I haven't really looked to bring people together to make an official position in how we're going to look to do that. But this board and district should know that's something that's on the horizon that we might explore as well.
I have a question. About-
Mr. Webb?
I'm sorry, I know we already voted on the calendar. With what you just said, is that applying to the 2022, 2023?
So correct me if I'm wrong, if anyone knows more information than me, but for the 22-23 school year, it looks like this particular holiday Eid will not be will be on a Saturday, so it may be a moot point for next year. But I just want the board to know that there will be years in the future where we as a superintendent, I'm going to look to put on the district calendar that we look to have that day off.
And also Juneteenth Day, that's a national holiday.
That's another one that we're looking for the 22-23 school year. So both, I think it's very likely that I'm going to provide a updated version of the school calendar next year for this board to vote on, and that's something I'm also very interested in exploring.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we'll keep that in mind. Then we can always bring that up under old business down the line, if we, or we could always reach out to the superintendent for an update. Thank you. Do we have a motion to open up the public portion?
So move.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbasi?
Yes.
Mrs. Zissa?
Yes.
Mr. Jaquez?
Yes.
Mr. Matzo?
Yes.
Mr. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Antonovic?
Yes.
Mr. Guzman?
Yes. Okay, seeing none, do we have a motion to close?
Move.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Abbasi?
Yes.
Mrs. Zissa?
Yes.
Mr. Jaquez?
Yes.
Mr. Matzo?
Yes.
Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Antonovic?
Yes.
Mr. Guzman?
Yes. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion.
So move.
Okay, all in favor? Okay. Anyone opposed? Okay. All right.
Feel better, George.
Excuse me?
Feel better.
Okay. Good night, everyone. Go Wildcats.
Good night. Go out.